Welcome back to the farm. Alright, so before we get into the video real quick, I wanted to mention that all of these clips were over a period of time. They weren't all done within like the same day or the same couple of days. So if you see different outfits or weather conditions or whatever, that's why. So let's get right into the video. So for the first step in getting the garden ready, my dad went through the whole entire field in rows with our cultivator to dig up the soil and get that extra drip tape and plastic that was left over from 5 years ago that we never got out. So he did that, and that just made it a lot easier for us to get to that extra drip tape and plastic. So this is just kind of an overview of what the field looked like as we were going along with the tractor and the cultivator, and my very dirty hands because apparently I didn't decide to wear gloves that day. But yeah, he just went through, didn't go too deep into the soil so that we wouldn't mess it all up, but just enough so that we could get in there and get all of the leftover drip tape and plastic, and then we would have our little lawnmower there with our trailer and the blue bucket so we could throw it all in there and then throw it away. So that was basically the first step of cleaning up our field and getting it ready to plant. So after we got done cleaning out and cultivating the big garden, we moved up to the small garden, and I cultivated basically the whole entire garden, which was pretty fun because it was my first time doing it actually. And we were just doing the same exact thing. We're going north to south this time because that is the way our rows go in the small garden. So that is what we did next. So as we were cleaning out our big garden, we actually found a ton of worms in the soil, and my dad here was just kind of explaining why the worms are important and how they relate to the soil quality. And unfortunately the audio was so bad I just could not use it, so I thought I'd kind of reiterate some of the things he was saying. So like I said, we saw a ton of worms, and worms equals good soil. He was saying we're very proud and very happy to have those worms there. He was saying how when we took back the land originally, there were no worms, so it's a really huge improvement to see those worms now. And then he also mentioned how apparently for every 1 teaspoon of soil, there are 20,000 living organisms. So that was pretty cool, and we got to see a ton of worms. So after we got the big garden all cleaned up, my grandpa went through with the plow and went north to south, and this just really broke up the ground, which just makes it so much easier to work in because it hadn't been plowed up for about 5 years or so. So plowing that up just makes it so much easier to work in. By plowing, it also gets a lot deeper into the ground, so it was able to expose a lot more of that drip tape and plastic that we would have missed when my dad cultivated it through the first time. This is just a little side note you'll probably see as the videos go on. I love doing these time lapses. I'm not really sure why, but I do. So you'll see a lot of time lapses, and even in this video you'll see quite a few as well. Next up was cultivating again. This way I went east and west, and this again was just breaking up the field and making it a lot easier to work in, and this way is also going in the way that the rows will be going. Alright, so the next step, whatever you want to call it, to getting our garden ready for the season is I have these little like bags. Basically, from what I've been told, is I fill them up with some of our soil and we send it in, and you get a sample from one side of your garden and a sample from the other side of the garden, and it basically just tells you what would be the best to grow there, I guess. I don't think we've ever done this before, so I'm just going based off what other people tell me. So I'm going to fill these up and then we'll send them in. So I have to fill it up to this red line here, so I'm just going to take, this stick and just kind of work it up, and then just start filling up. Oh, look at that. That's what we like to see. So I'm just going to start filling up this bag with some soil. Right, so it's kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of tell that I've got the soil up to the line on that bag, and that was from way over there somewhere. And so now we have to take this bag and fill it up on this side of our garden. So I will do that, and then we can close these up and send them in the mail, and we can get our results about our garden.
We are tilling up soil, and we're gonna lay some plastic down. So we're gonna do the 2 rows for the onions. What I want to do is I want to do 3 going back and forth 3 times for each hill, so that when we use the raised bed maker, that it has plenty of soil to draw, or when we put the lay flat down or the plastic down, we'll have plenty to draw off the soil to create that nice, hopefully the nice bed of plastic here, so it can start heating up. We can plant when it's 70 degrees.
Alright, so it is Saturday, April 25th, and we're working. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like really tired today. I just don't want to do anything, but we have to, so oh well. We are tilling today, getting some hills ready to put some plastic on. So I'm trying to find poles or markers or whatever, like 18 of them, because it's how many we're gonna have in our big garden, how many hills we're gonna have in our big garden. So I need to find some hill markers so we can figure out where we're gonna have the hills. So that's what I'm doing. My dad is tilling right now. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I am measuring out the rows. So I don't know if you can really see. We've got screwdrivers along here. And basically I am measuring out 12 feet. So this ruler is 12 feet. And then right there. Then drop it. And take a screwdriver and I put it in. Just like that. So we've got, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I have to do 13 more. And that will be how, or where our rows go. Alright, so this is my dad tilling, and as you can kind of see, he's going along this pink line. And basically what we did is we took 2 poles and we lined them up with each of the rulers so that we had kind of a guide to go along as we tilled the rows, and just made it a lot straighter of a row and a lot easier to figure out where exactly we were going. So this is basically what it looked like. We went up and down one row 3 times, and like my dad had explained, that just makes sure that when we lay down the plastic that there is enough surface area to create a nice hill. And basically what would happen is we would walk along with it, and every time we felt it kind of dig deeper into the ground, we knew that that had tilled up enough, so we would go forward. So that's what we did for all 18 of the rows, and when we were done, we were very, very, very happy. So after we got everything all tilled, it was finally time to lay down some plastic and some drip tape. So this is a little bit of what it looked like, but I was up on the tractor and my dad and my grandpa were behind, making sure everything was going right. So this is basically what it looked like from my angle. As you can see, the drip tape is up top and the plastic is down the bottom, and my dad would pull it through so that the drip tape would be underneath the plastic, and then my grandpa would be at the end of the row, as he is there, and he would hold down the drip tape so that it didn't move while we were going down the row. The first few rows we actually did have some problems with this, where we didn't have enough pressure on the drip tape so that the drip tape would stay. So we did have to go back through and kind of fix those on later on, but it was really helpful to have my grandpa there. So after he pulled that through, he grabbed the plastic and pulled that down, and what they started to do was kind of pile some dirt up on there so that once we started going, that the plastic would stay in place as well. So as you saw in one of the previous clips, the tractor that we were actually using was our neighbor's tractor, because our little Ford tractor does not have the power capacity to pull the big machine we have. So as you saw there, once my dad got a little bit of dirt on the plastic when he pulled it down, I actually had a lever on the tractor that I could push down, and that would lower the whole entire machine down so that it would kind of hold that plastic in place. So then after we got enough dirt onto the plastic, then it was my time to get ready to drive the tractor again. So unfortunately I wasn't able to get on camera as to what exactly the machine was doing as we went down the row, but basically what was happening was there are 2 kind of like plow plates, I guess you could say, on either side of the machine, and those would go along and those would kind of build up dirt, so it created almost like a little mini hill. And then inside that, the drip tape would be going along and being laid down, and at the same time, as you can see, the plastic would be going along and getting laid down, it would then kick dirt up onto the sides of the plastic so that it stayed in place. And then you can see here at the end, my dad is just basically cutting off the end of the plastic and the drip tape and then putting more dirt onto it so it stays in place. And then this is what the entire field looked like covered. So once we had our whole entire field mapped out, basically, we were able to go in with our seeds and do all the math that was required to figure out exactly how many seeds per hole we were going to have, how far apart they were going to be, how many holes total we were going to have, and all that kind of stuff that revolves around planting the actual seeds. So what we did was we went through every single packet of seeds and we counted exactly how many seeds we had total in each packet. We then were able to go into the back of the seed packet and it told us how far apart we should be planting each hole. So then once we had the amount of seeds we had and how far apart they were, we were able to take how long each row was and kind of do some math to figure out this is how many holes we were going to have, and then this is how many seeds we're going to have per hole. And then once we had that, we were basically ready to plant. So the last step before we could plant was we had to hook up our watering system. And I'll actually show the clip where my dad was teaching me what exactly we had to do. But a little bit of background, the green part that he is working with and he calls the lay flat, that is basically a long tube that the water goes into so that it could get into each and every row. So that is what he calls lay flat, and then there are little connectors that he's working with as well. And those connect between the lay flat and the drip tape so that the rows get the water.
We're going to start right here. You want the drip tape straight, right? Mm-hmm. So you put the lay flat right up against that little bar here, right? Mm-hmm. See that?
Yep.
Make sure it's tight.
Bam.
Now you got your little circle. Mm-hmm. We're throwing these away, so I'm just going to throw them on the ground. Okay? Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do is we're going to close all these off first, because then once we do the water, hook the water up, then we're going to do one row at a time. So I guess that's horizontal, horizontal is closed, vertical is open.
Okay.
Okay? This is where it's kind of tough because this is a new hose, so it's hard. But this has to go inside the hose. Probably just got to get a little hole going. Okay, let's get that hole going, and it's a little easier. So now it's in. Mm-hmm. And then you tighten it down. You don't want it to leak. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to cut this just south of that little hole. And then you round it out a little bit. And you get in, and it's just a friction tight, that's all it is. And you push it in as far as you can. And then you pull that forward. And she's ready to go. Rock and roll.
And that is it. That is our video on us getting our field ready to be planted and everything that went into it. It was a lot of time and a lot of work, especially starting from scratch, but so far it is all paying off. It's currently June 15th, and we are already seeing so much stuff come up. We did eventually get our soil test back, and it told us basically that our soil quality is really good right now. Our pH levels were a little bit low, so we did get some sulfur and spread that around the field, but we're hoping that helps. So that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Our next video should be all about the planting process and how that all went. So I hope you all enjoyed. Please make sure to subscribe and like the video if you did. Again, I'll leave our Facebook and our Instagram links down below. Feel free to follow those, and we'll see you in the next video.